What is happening, guys? Rules for Rebels, and I wanted to make a quick video about the deep web or dark web markets going down. First, it was AlphaBay. AlphaBay, I guess, Silk Road was a big deal when it went down. I guess AlphaBay was more than 3 or 4 times bigger than Silk Road, so huge dark web, deep web marketplace went down. And then a lot of people from that web spot were running over to Hansa and or another site called Dreams. Now, why is this video relevant to any of you guys? I know a lot of you guys are Bitcoin holders, are involved in the Bitcoin space, and regardless of whether you order anything off these deep web markets or not, I think it would be naive to think that these markets don't affect the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, when Silk Road went down, Bitcoin took a hit. When AlphaBay went down, Bitcoin took a hit. And obviously, there's a lot more at play than like, oh, people can't order their weed anymore, so there's a lot less like Bitcoin transacting going on. There was a whole lot of other stuff going on. We had the upcoming August 1st Bitcoin potential fork. Electrum was, there were a whole lot of things at play, a lot more than just this marketplace going down as far as why prices went down. But it does seem like when a deep web or dark web marketplace goes down, it definitely affects the Bitcoin market. I think they said AlphaBay, the kid who owned it, was making $600,000 to $700,000 per day, and that's just in fees that the site collects. So I'm not sure what type of fee they collect, but think about it. I'm guessing the fee is just a couple percent at the most. So, if you look at the entire volume of Bitcoin or cash going through that site, it was insane. Now, there's really very little information out there about this. I actually learned about this from Steemit this morning. I'd heard about AlphaBay going down. That was kind of old news. But this site, Hansa, is apparently like insane news because, again, I read about this on Reddit, then I saw something on Steemit, then I saw something on Reddit, did a little bit more digging, and I actually made a Steemit post about it today. But here's what's pretty crazy. So I guess back when AlphaBay was taken down by, I think it was the Dutch government or whatever, and kind of a crazy story. I'm not too up on the story, but it's kind of an insane story. It was like a 28-year-old kid who was running the site. He was from, I believe, Quebec, Canada. He was living over in Thailand. I think when they arrested him, he had like 3 or 4 Lamborghinis, a house, like a mansion, 30 to, I've heard different stats, anywhere from 30 to $90 million worth of Bitcoins. So, the kid had a lot of money. He wound up hanging himself in jail. A lot of people speculate that maybe he paid off the authorities and staged his death, and he's, bribed somebody with Bitcoins and is living rich somewhere. But for all intents and purposes, it looked like he hung himself in jail in, I think it was Thailand. Anyhow, people kind of thought that was the end of it, right? Like these I shouldn't even say drug marketplaces, because a lot more things than drugs are sold on deep web marketplaces. Not everything on deep web marketplaces is criminal stuff, although a lot of it is. But apparently what's going on with Hansa is the Dutch government, Interpol, Europol, the DEA, the Department of Justice, basically like law enforcement from around the world came together to bust Hansa. Apparently they actually took over Hansa. So essentially the government has been running this deep web marketplace since going back to June 20th, I believe it was. So essentially, because they were administrators or because they had control over the site, they have everybody's addresses and everybody's orders and know a lot about people. I know everything is like PGP encrypted. I was watching a video. If you guys are interested in deep web or dark web marketplaces, there's a kid called AVLSD who has a YouTube channel. I don't get too much into that stuff, but I just happened to see one of his videos the other day, and he seems to be pretty knowledgeable about like cryptocurrencies in the deep web. And he was kind of talking about PGP, which is, what is it called, pretty good privacy or whatever. I guess these sites have their own built-in PGP, or you can use your own. If you use the on-site, it's essentially been corrupted, and the government has all your information. But yeah, I haven't seen many, if any, YouTube videos about this. I think there's like 3 YouTube videos that have a Jeff Sessions press conference. There's like a BBC report that basically just has a few minutes of talking in a Jeff Sessions thing. But essentially, the biggest drug marketplace, I don't know why I keep saying drug marketplace, the biggest deep web marketplace has been taken down. The one that everybody was running to, Hansa, has been run by the government, or world governments, whatever, for the last, I don't know, 30 days. And I guess there are some other marketplaces up, like one called Dreams and another one called Valhalla, I think it's called. And I'll link to this AVLSD's guy's video on this topic because he's a lot more knowledgeable on this topic. But if you're wondering, like, what Rules for Rebels guy, why are you making this video? Like, it doesn't really affect us. That's true and it's not true. Again, like I said, a lot of Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin isn't all about criminal stuff. You know, I think it's kind of unfair when people say, like, oh, people use Bitcoin to buy drugs. Like, a lot more drugs have been bought with US dollars than have ever been bought with Bitcoin. A lot more people have bought prostitutes and hired people from, like, basically a lot more devious shit has gone on with US dollars and foreign currencies than has ever gone on with Bitcoins. But Bitcoin kind of tends to get a bad rap for, like, oh, that's that stuff you use to buy weed on the deep web, you know? And so what I think may happen is not only has a huge place where a lot of Bitcoin transactions took place been taken down, but furthermore, another one has been controlled by the government. So I think people are going to be freaking out. I don't think anybody's going to be, I shouldn't say not anybody, there's a lot of stupid people out there, but I think people are going to be very hesitant to use these deep web marketplaces, which means that a lot less Bitcoin is being used for transactions. A lot of Bitcoins have been lost or has been seized by the government. So I think, you know, I don't think this will send Bitcoin into a tailspin. I mean, quite honestly, Bitcoin has skyrocketed today. It went from $2,200 to $2,700. It's looking up. But, you know, all this stuff, it seems like this is like pretty new news. I haven't seen it or heard it reported on a lot. So I think it's very possible that we might see a little bit of a Bitcoin pullback due to not only AlphaBay being taken down, which again at this point is a little bit old news, but because Hansa now went down, and because it seems like, you know, government's the man, whatever you want to say, has figured out a way to kind of crack these deep web marketplaces. Quite honestly, I'm not sure how they caught the AlphaBay guy. I think he had used, I don't know, these guys pretty much normally have like small slip-ups. Like I think in the case of the Silk Road, he had used like the same username on a regular web forum that he used on Silk Road at one point. With this most recent guy, I forget, he had some small little slip, like he might have used too similar of a name on two different platforms or something like that. Not sure how they got Hansa, but I think people are going to be like nervous that the government's figured out how to crack these sites. People may stop using them, less Bitcoin's transacted, less Bitcoin's bought, less Bitcoin is exchanged, and that could cause the price to pull back a little bit. But as of now, it seems like people kind of stopped freaking out about this August 1st thing. Bitcoin's on its way back up. Earlier today, we were at 2,200 and some change. Here at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon Chicago time, we're already up to $2,700 or something like that. I think over $2,750 maybe. So I'll be curious to see how kind of all this stuff affects Bitcoin prices. One other thing, Coinbase sent out an email today. It's kind of old news that we already knew. They won't be supporting the, what is it, UHAF or whatever it is chain if it winds up splitting. So Coinbase, basically, I know a lot of people have been like pestering Coinbase on forums and Coinbase support and everything else. Coinbase has officially come out and said, look, we're not going to support this UHAF chain. If you want to deal with both coins, get your money off the exchange. I really don't think it's going to happen at this point anyhow. But that's a little crypto update video of the day. Got my Dash shirt on. But yeah, if you guys know anything else about this whole Hansa thing, if anyone wants to drop any additional news or anything they know or any predictions that you have on how you think it'll affect the price, I'd love to hear it. Drop it in the comment section below. Got a good video coming out tomorrow, guys. Going to show you guys the shirt I had made by Merch Mode. Next week, I am going to be on a podcast. I'm going to wait till we film it and see when they air it. I'll let you guys know about that if you want to check it out. But yeah, anything that you guys want to add, anything I missed, drop it down there, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow in the next video. Later, guys.